This is a time for strong voices.
To write. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it.
Kind of like that. Trump came into office promising to do to America what gas station sushi does to your lower GI. But it's worse than that. From Doge's attack on USAID to this budget bill, millions of Americans are at risk. And finally, we're hearing from voices that honestly, we should have heard from a long time ago. Former Presidents Obama and Bush came together to call out Trump for blowing up the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. Tiny fingers cut around 90% of USAID's foreign aid contracts during Elon Musk's Doge rampage back in February. Musk oversaw the depletion of the workforce from 10,000 people to less than 300. Obama made private comments at an event honoring the work USAID did and decried Trump's narrow and evil vision. He said gutting USAID is a travesty and it's a tragedy because it's some of the most important work happening anywhere in the world. Obama predicted that sooner or later leaders on both sides of the aisle will realize how much this work is needed. He added that USAID's work has mattered and will matter for generations to come. But leaders on both sides of the aisle? President Bush, the 43rd president of the United States from 2001 to 2009, had an even stronger handed message. Is it in our national interest that 25 million people who would have died now live? I think it is, and so do you. He went on to say, you showed the great strength of America through your work, and that is your good heart. And look, as great as it was to hear from Bush, his silence over the last 10 years has been deafening. And to be honest, with millions of Americans in the streets and families being sent to prison in countries they've never even known, voices are needed now more than ever. And you can say what you want about Gavin Newsom, but he's standing up to Trump and not backing down.
Tom Homan, the border czar, said to me yesterday he did not rule out literally arresting you.
Yep.
Nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his words. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Let your hands off these poor people. They're just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes. Been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
He's right. And that's what Bush and Obama need to say louder, and say it right now. Millions of Americans, undocumented, naturalized, and U.S. citizens born here are now in Trump's crosshairs while his chubby little sycophants giggle and smirk.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is hailing the end of USAID, the nation's largest foreign aid agency, even as a new analysis finds that its closure could contribute to some 14 million deaths in the next 5 years. CNN's Jennifer Hansler joins us now from the State Department. So, Jennifer, tell us about this new analysis and what the Secretary is saying in response.
Well, Boris, this analysis, which was released yesterday, really paints a potentially catastrophic picture of what could come now that USAID has been dismantled and the administration is turning away from a lot of these foreign assistance funds. Now, this comes ahead of Secretary of State Marco Rubio just earlier today applauding the fact that USAID is now operationally finished. He said in a post on Substack, quote, as of July 1st, USAID will officially cease to implement foreign assistance programs that align with administration policies and which advance American interests will be administered by the State Department, where they will be delivered with more accountability, strategy, and efficiency. And of course, the dismantlement of USAID was very swift, took less than 6 months after this administration took office. Rubio said they are going to be focused now more on trade rather than aid. And of course, this comes as that report from The Lancet is saying there could be an additional 14 million deaths that come as a result of these administration policies. They noted that funding from USAID helps to combat mortality related to HIV/AIDS, for example, and malaria, tropical diseases, nutritional deficiency, maternal mortality, tuberculosis, all these sorts of things where funding had been going to groups that were working to combat a lot of these catastrophic issues on the ground. Now, a senior State Department official was asked about the findings earlier today, and they sort of downplayed it. They said that these were based on misassumptions about what the administration was doing, and they claimed that life-saving work would continue. But we should note that groups on the ground have spoken extensively about their experience over the past 5 months as this dismantlement was taking place, and they said the impact has already been devastating.
But USAID isn't just about helping starving children or clean water in third world countries or stopping the spread of malaria and HIV. It's also about farmers right here in the U.S.
But some folks who aren't feeling Trump's optimism right now are American farmers, and they are stuck in the middle of all of this.
Frank, who did you vote for president?
Mr. Trump.
Right?
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way.
Couldn't happen. No.
Well, we do have a humanitarian and moral obligation to help, get food to these food deficient areas. It's also really good for developing goodwill with the United States.
And these same farmers are being beat up by Trump's attack on undocumented workers. And Trump speaks about their plan almost nonchalantly.
Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have. And I think we can't do that to our farmers. And leisure, too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
But ICE and Trump and Stephen Miller, they're going after restaurants and hotels and, farmers. And the effect is being felt across the country. Trump and his deportations, tariffs, and attacks on our friends and allies is getting closer every day to creating a worldwide recession. But Trump is consistent, if nothing else. His budget bill promises to strip Medicaid and health insurance from millions of Americans while giving tax breaks to billionaires and multimillionaires. And as good as it is to hear from Obama and Bush, there are other voices who haven't been quiet and have helped Americans focus on the incoming missile that is Fat Donnie's beautiful bill.
What we are looking at right now, and I want everybody to know it, is maybe the largest transfer of wealth from low-income and working people to the top 1%. And as you indicated, we're talking about $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. And in the midst of all of that, there's over $200 billion going to the top 0.2%, families that inherit more than $30 million. So it's not just a gift to the 1%. I have to admit they paid for it. When you have a corrupt campaign finance system and these guys spend hundreds of millions of dollars electing Trump, they're getting back what they paid.
So let's summarize. Trump is systematically cutting sustenance to the poorest people, not only here, but in the world. The voices we need today are those who Trump has either cowed or, like Obama and Bush, have been quiet because they feel like there's some kind of tradition they should adhere to. Well, that. I loathe Rand Paul, but he and Republican Tillis of North Carolina stood up and called out both Susan Collins from Maine and Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, who, when time came to speak truth to power, they instead were literally bribed with goodies to take back to Maine and Alaska.
Senator Paul said that that your vote was a bailout for Alaska at the expense of the rest of the country.
Oh my God.
That's what Senator Paul said.
This one was easy. Senator, we've got the...
I didn't say it, ma'am. I'm just asking for your response.
This is an opportunity to call out this MAGA militia and speak out for those in harm's way by decrying Trump and his spittle of little boys' actions and their evil intent. It's time to say it. This is my country, and if you don't like what I have to say,
go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Goddamn right.
Do you have no shame?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.